Well, welcome everybody. Come on in and sing along. Every voice is welcome here on the daily antidote of song. We're gonna keep on moving forward, note by note and line by line, even when the times are tough. We're gonna do it one song at a time. Welcome in, everybody. Come on in and sing along. Every voice is welcome here on the daily antidote of song. Every voice is welcome here on the daily antidote of song. Oh, welcome in, everybody. Every voice is welcome here. What an incredible message to have. What a message that we need. I'm going to put my ukulele down so that we can all take a big breath together on day 1806 of the Daily Antidote. Let's breathe together. Let's do one more. We really need it. I'm so glad to be here this morning with all of you. And I want to make sure to say a special thanks to Carpe Diem Arts and to our national treasure, Jojo Rosie, for making it possible for us to gather here in this space all together, no matter where we're coming from. I'm Aileen Vance. I'm really happy to be your host this morning for a special Sunday edition of the Daily Antidote. And I want to welcome everyone into this room individually. Of course, we have Christiana, who we'll welcome officially in a moment. She's going to sing for us today. Aaron coming in from Brooklyn, New York, and running tech for us. Ariana also coming in from Los Angeles and running tech for us. And somewhere we have Candace, who's doing the same. They're our crew today. And Candace, there you are, coming in from LA also. So thank you all for helping us to make this room happen so many times during the week. Welcome in Nan, coming in from Michigan. Sydney coming in from San Francisco. Susan G from Cincinnati. David and Elsie coming in from Oakland, California. Jojo, of course, we know is coming in. Now, today she's coming in from Florida. She's all over the place usually. Linda coming in from Orcas Island. Amanda and Miles coming in from Michigan, Jane coming in from Texas, Marion coming in from Brighton, UK, Vinay coming in from Berkeley, California, Linda coming in from Concord, Massachusetts, Sheila coming in from rainy Florida, and I see that rain behind you, Luda coming in from Victoria, BC, good to see you, Carolyn coming in from Boise, Idaho, with a heart and the sign, Jamie coming in from Victoria, BC, Kathy coming in from Colorado, Trish coming in from Victoria, BC, Storm coming in from Massachusetts and the Zoomiverse, Mabel and the Bears coming in from Massachusetts. We got two bears today. Pauline coming in from Newcastle, UK. Let's see, Phil coming in from Totnes, UK. We've got some UK in the house today. Bonnie coming in from Boise, Idaho. Busy coming in from Carpe Diem Arts. Yay, Busy, hi. Cricket coming in from Maryland. Sarah coming in from Texas. Bob coming in. I forget where you're coming in from, Bob, but you can put it somewhere there as we go along. Annette coming in from California. Anne coming in from Silver Spring, Maryland. Hoda from British Columbia. Julie coming in from Ontario, Canada. Susan coming in from Seattle. Lorraine coming in from Maryland. Deli coming in from Maryland. Ruth and Clive are coming in from Birmingham, UK. Bob and a bear. coming in from Massachusetts. Yeah, those bears are all over the place today. Gary coming in from Massachusetts. Whoever LMG is, welcome in from Connecticut. Jenny coming in from Suffolk, UK, with a poodle. Elizabeth coming in from California. Jane G coming in from Maryland. Dawn Peabody coming in. Thank you, Dawn, for coming. Janet coming in. I don't know from where you're coming in, but welcome, Janet. The Daily Antidote is there again. We welcome all Daily Antidote participants. Nancy coming in from Washington State, and it looks like Gary's in there twice. So I think we've welcomed everyone into the room. There's 48 people here today. Can we just take another deep breath? That is awesome. Let's drink that in. 48 people here together. So excited about that. And it's so good to see everyone's faces. I'm really thrilled to host today, to introduce to you someone I've never heard sing before the sound check this morning. And I'm so excited. I think you should get on your dancing shoes. Christiana Drapkin is coming to us from Silver Spring, Maryland this morning. She is originally, I believe, from Germany. She came to the U.S. on a Fulbright scholarship and got bit by the jazz bug. And she stayed, and she's sung in New Orleans, she's sung in New York, she moved to the Silver Spring, Maryland area, the DMV, some years ago. She works with all different kinds of jazz musicians, and she was telling me a little bit about some of the people who've mentored her, some of the jazz greats who've mentored her. And I got a chance to listen to a couple of her recordings. I'm so excited to hear you sing live today. She does all these amazing programs. She has a program called Shakespeare and All That Jazz, which is putting Shakespeare to in a jazz setting. She does a program for kids called Bop Goes the Weasel.
That's right. That's right.
And I think she's going to tell us a little bit about. We know we're talking about Women's History Month this month, and that's really important to us who do music. And there's such a wealth of songs, not only by women but also about women's history. And I know that you have a program called Music She Wrote. And I suspect that maybe this song that you've prepared for us today might come out of that program. So, what song have you got for us today, Christiana?
Well, man, you do great introduction, Aileen. First of all, let's give Aileen a hand. All the warm welcomes really set such a loving tone. That's really why I'm also so happy to be back here at Daily Antidote after too long of a hiatus. But I guess sometimes any of us might need a time out and regroup or narrow our bandwidth. But it's really great and very comforting to be back for this day, 1806. And some of you, at least a third, I know, have been here through the years. We all have been together. So, not me. Thank you. Well, coming to the topic here of March and Women's History Month. I love being a student of history, and so I took my cue from this old piece of sheet music that I have. This is the original cover of the sheet music for Rosie the Riveter. And you can see this is not the poster that many of us know from the Norman Rockwell design, but this was before then. And whatever she's doing to this plane here, probably better work than Boeing. So anyway, here we are. The Rosie the Riveter was not written by a woman, so this is not part of my Music She Wrote program, but this is describing all the women who came into the industry, into manufacturing and into the workplace during World War II, when many of the men, of course, were fighting or conscripted or overseas. And it was really an opening up and an opportunity economically and also in self-esteem for many, many women. And they did not necessarily want to get back to the kitchen, even with a big new General Electric fridge. So we're just going to do this song a cappella, and I know you can sing it with me. And I always loved in our Daily Antidote things how we often went through a song line by line. So we'll do the first two lines together. Are they posted in the chat yet? I'm wearing glasses, but I can't see it. So hopefully the lyrics are in the chat. So we go here. It's a swinging number, and it goes like that. First line, first two lines. All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. Can we do that together? Here we go. 2, 3, 4. All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the Riveter. So, can you do all this with your tongue right up in the front? So let's work on the which is, of course, a machine, right? Yeah. So let's do just Rosie the Riveter. Rosie, the Riveter. And we can do that wonderful drill for 4 beats. That's why I'm snapping my fingers. So let's take it from the top. Any questions? No, I wouldn't see them in the chat anyway. So here we go for broke. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the Riveter. Second verse is same. Keeps a sharp lookout for sabotage, sitting up there on the fuselage. That little frail can do more than a male will do. Rosie, the Riveter. Here comes the bridge, which is a little bit different. Here we go. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine. Let's do that. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine. Rosie is protecting Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. So let's do the whole bridge together with feeling, right? 2, 3, 4. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine. Rosie is protecting Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production E, she was as proud as a girl could be. There's something true about red, white, and blue about Rosie, the Riveter. Well, that's a song. So do we want to do the whole thing from the beginning, all together and really swinging? How about it?
Yeah, let's do that.
I don't hear any no's. Okay, so ba 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 ba. All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the Riveter. Keeps a sharp lookout for sabotage, sitting up there on the fuselage. That little frail can do more than a male will do. Rosie, the Riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine. Rosie is protecting Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production E, she was as proud as a girl could be. There's something true about red, white, and blue about Rosie, the Riveter. Again, Rosie, the Riveter. Woo! Oh.
Wow, you didn't say, but I assume that song was written as a sort of a promo for the Rosie the Riveter program.
I think you can
during
actually
the
say
war.
the propaganda song, definitely, out of the Hollywood war propaganda machine, and all these uplifting or whatever sentiment was what was supposed to be expressed productions. You might know that Ronald Reagan, as a young actor, was also in some of those World War II promo films, shorts they were called. This one was written in 1942 by Red Evans and John Jacob Loeb. And the lyrics are really quite interesting too. So we have right there in the second stanza, we have there, keeps a sharp lookout for sabotage. So yeah, there's definitely a little political angle in there. Sitting up there on the fuselage, I don't know about that. That sounds rather sexy, and I don't think that's how they did that here in the factory. And the next line is super interesting. It says, that little frail can do. So I think the songwriters there had a little fun with, critiquing the male chauvinist viewpoint of, oh, don't worry your pretty little head, or the frail sex, or whatever you wanted to call the ladies. And then the next half of the sentence, so, is really interesting. It says, more than a male will do. So what that really implies, or we should really tease out, is they probably worked for such low wages that no male, even the ones who were left behind on the home front, would work for that kind of wage. So it's very nice, it's just tucked in there, but you really have to use your eagle eye to spot those. Then the next one, Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Of course, she's a normal, regular girl with a boyfriend, and there is a little bit of empowerment in there. She's protecting Charlie, right? And then, I don't know, thank goodness for Wikipedia, I looked up what a production E is. So the E stands for excellence, and that was the Army-Navy E Award, which was an honor that was presented to certain factories during World War II for excellence in production of war equipment. And those were actual celebrations that were held. So usually there was a representative from the Army and a representative from the Navy. They were coming. A pennant was given to be flown at the factory or posted inside the production facility. And the pennant, which is a pin, the pins that every worker got, was this triangular emblem, and it had a yellow, it has a capital E in it. The red ones were for the Army, the blue ones were for the Navy production. And over 4,000 companies were awarded these production E's, and all the employees in it. And that was about 4% of the facilities that we know were involved in wartime production. So those are interesting things, and having English being my second language, I really like to read any line of any song I do very closely, just because there are all these little Easter eggs hidden in there.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things that I encourage a lot of my choir students to do when they're learning a song is to make sure that they do what I call their homework. If you're singing a song in another language that's not your native language, I always encourage them to make sure that they do all the research on where that song comes from, how it's actually sung in that country, in that language, what's the story behind it. And you've just demonstrated so perfectly that even when we're singing in our own language, it's really important to have an understanding of what's behind those words, what's the subtext, and this is a historical phenomenon also, because we're looking at something that was like an ad or a commercial to promote women being in this workforce that had been dominated by men, and convincing people that yes, women can, with their strong right arm, do this job. And then we know what happened after the war, when women were encouraged to go back into the home and become wives and mothers, and not be able to have a credit rating or a bank account if they were married, or own property if they were married, that kind of thing. And so it was very convenient for the Hollywood machine to help the war effort by writing this song and songs like this, and do the films that people have mentioned in the chat. There's a lot of people who know a lot about this. It's really interesting. But to know that history is to know something about how we've gone from there. And it's so cool that you can do that with a clear eye, and to get into not only the words that way, but also to separate yourself a little bit from it and just sing it and swing it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear that. You and it makes me want to ask you when you look for choosing a song to interpret. Do you have that kind of cool eye on everything, or do you also look for things where you have this, just an emotional connection where you can't really explain why you're picking that song, but you just really want to sing it?
Oh yeah, I think both aspects are true. What you just mentioned, you know, it's also the magic of music when something just carries you along and you just need to be emotionally drifting on it, whether it's a symphony orchestra or an Italian art song, and you know she's singing and she's gonna die at the end of the opera, and you sit there with your Kleenex. You know, it's still wonderful. So sometimes you just want to give in to this deliciousness of the sound and the things that don't really need to be attached to words, but that really grab you somewhere internally, really, really in a whole different way, which is good to maybe not have words for. You know, I don't know
Mm,
if some of you remember, maybe you had to take piano lessons or were flunking on your guitar, and you were a teenager and you lock yourself in your room and you're so discontented and so discombobulated and everything, but you have this music thing that you're hacking around with, and it releases things that are unspoken. So that's one of the real powers of music. And the other thing is what you just mentioned, having a cool eye. There is a time and place for that, and even in the same song. I grew up in Germany, and I was a real theater kid, and Bertolt Brecht was really important for me. About Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill, all that music. He had something that was called the alienation effect, where you could go with a show and then boom, the audience was grabbed by the hair and said, "Now look at this. What does that mean?" Now, so and even in my projects that I do, like Music She Wrote, I always like to have a little bit of that interplay of enjoying the pleasure of a song and then, well, did you hear that? Or where did this come from? Or who did that for whom? Or why?
mm,
Or who paid for it? You know,
right.
you
That's
could go, yeah.
Yeah, and those of us like myself who do more social justice music, that's something that's a passion for me, and it's why I live and breathe a lot of this kind of music. That is the very thing that we're trying to do to not only inspire people but to also make them maybe a little bit discomfited, like there's a sense of, like you said, pulling someone by the hair, that you're slammed a little bit with an eye opener once in a while, and that makes you think, and that music has that power to do that.
Yeah.
You mentioned some very powerful examples of that, and it's it's something it's a long tradition. I'm loving that people are engaging and taking the chat beyond even what we're talking about, and finding different ways of relating to what you're saying. It's just amazing. This group that we get together with every day, there's so many amazing people in this room today, and it's so wonderful to know that people can listen so carefully and then relate it to wherever they are. And I'm seeing a lot of messages too about the Rosie the Riveter National Monument, which those of us that live in Northern California live near and have had the pleasure of going to visit. And that history is so important for us to continue to remember. And as we know right now, the message coming out of the White House is to erase a lot of this history that we have, and to erase even the place names of places that are important to us as national monuments, or to not talk about what actually happened at those national monuments. It's really important for us to have a reference point, like these songs can get us to talk about what happened there.
Yes.
And I love that you've got all that, you're so aware of all the subtext.
Well,
you know?
also growing up in Germany and my family, of course, having lived there, um, I carry a personal historical burden, and it's truly alarming what we live through. Or also enough people who have encountered who say, "Well, I don't read." You know, if you don't read, it can be anything. It can be historical fiction or whatever, but it's always a mirror or always a more focusing on certain aspects. And right now, with this disappearing of like names or even yeah, women's roles in like in the military, there was just something in the paper again today. Uh, we need to uh, really be engaged because these creepy things, they are already really progressing at increasing speed. I have one of the books. I love our library and our friends of the library used book sales. I usually come home with an armful, and there was a book on Lily Marlene, the song, which came out of World War One, but then became a very, very popular song on the airwave of all the sides of the conflict that people listen to on the radio, soldiers in the field. It shows how, especially in the Jewish population, you lost your license to practice medicine, you lost your appointment as a musician in the orchestra, all these creeping things. And when I would ask as a grade and middle schooler my grandma, or as a, you know, I was too young for my great grandma in that way, I said, well, how did this happen? This didn't just happen overnight. She would say, well, everybody was minding their own business. And that's just, I don't want to tell that to my grandson.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. This discussion has been so amazing. And I love how we've branched out from this um, almost whimsical song that has so many important things to say about American history and World War II history. And your knowledge of all of that really inspires me. So thank you for that. I hate to say that we're almost to the end of our time, but I think two things. One is we can always run over when we're having a good time, and I hope people will flow with that as we move in. I just want to make sure before we have Christiana sing for us again and we sing with her. I want to make sure that everyone knows what's coming up. We don't have a banner today, but we there will be one. There'll be a banner soon, and you'll see it if you're on the list or you're on Facebook or Instagram. You'll see that banner. But here's what's coming up next week. We've got Joe Jenks, my good friend Joe Jenks. Always wonderful to hear him. Two new people to the Daily Antidote of Song, Suzanne Brindamore
Oh,
and
yeah.
the wonderful Marie Lynn Hammond from Canada, who I'm very fond of. She's wonderful. Alex Cumming is coming. Namvula, who is coming in from London, I believe, and she's always wonderful. I'll be here on Saturday morning, Saturday the 22nd, and Kim Bothan it will also be here. So I'm looking forward to leading a song for you next Saturday, and please thank you to everyone here for having us have this wonderful discussion today and for all the people who've contributed in the chat. It's so wonderful. And Christiana, would you like to go ahead and sing with us
Oh,
one more time?
absolutely. And I wish I could hear
Swing it!
all of you. And Daily Antidote is such a powerful gathering. I'm sorry I missed you for so long. I will change that again. Okay. The prodigal daughter. Here we are. Okay, Rosie the Riveter. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All the day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie the Riveter keeps a sharp lookout for sabotage, sitting up there on the fuselage. That little frail can do more than a male will do. Rosie the Riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine. Rosie is protecting Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production E, she was as proud as a girl could be. There's something true about red, white, and blue, about Rosie, the Riveter. Rosie, the Riveter. And look up the line with my YouTube link. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if we have that in the chat, Erin, but if you want to, you can look that up on her YouTube channel. And
Yeah, this was
there it
a
is.
particular version by the Vagabonds, vocal quartet, and with interesting historic footage. There are several other Rosie the Riveter things. Some are like maddeningly stupid, but this one is good.
Oh, and there, thank you so much, Erin. There is the Rosie the Riveter sheet music, the original. It's beautiful to look at that. Well, friends, let's take another deep breath together before we move on to the rest of our day. Thank you so much to Christiana for bringing us such a beautiful and unexpected discussion today and a beautiful song. And I look forward, Christiana, to hearing more from you. We didn't really get to talk about jazz and scatting and interpreting a song and all that. So I want to have that discussion sometime too. So let's do this again sometime in the near future. Thank you so much to Erin and Ariana and Candace for running tech for us this morning. They are fabulous. They're so amazing. Thank you to JoJo for keeping it all together for us. We love you, JoJo. Everybody give hearts to JoJo. Yay. And I'm going to thank everyone in this room. Nan, thank you so much for coming. Sydney, let's wave to them as we thank them. Susan G. from Cincinnati. David and Elsie. Marion. Vinay. There's so many great people in this room. Linda. Sheila. Carolyn. Jamie, Amanda and Miles, Trish, Storm, Mabel and the Bears, Pauline, Phil, we'll see you soon, probably singing, Bonnie, James, so good to see you, Martha, Busy coming in from Carpe Diem Arts, we're so glad you're here, Fred, good to see you. Cricket, Bob, Annette, Lorraine, thank you for coming. And a cat too, beautiful cat. Anne coming in from Silver Spring, Maryland. And the other Anne coming in from Nashville. It's nice that you're sitting next to each other in the chat for me. Hoda, Julie, thank you for coming. Susan, another Susan coming in from Seattle, Delhi. Leanna, hi, and bye. Ruth and Clive, good to see you. Bob and one of the Bears coming in from outside. I don't know if that's the same house. Usually Bob and Mabel are together with the Bears, but today they're in different places. Kathy, so good to see you. See you dancing. Hello, Gary. Gary coming in from his car. LMG, thank you for coming. Jenny, thank you for coming. Jane G, thank you for coming. The Curly Tops in Vermont, there they are. And I believe one of those daily antidotes is JoJo, but I'm not sure which one. And Mommy, also JoJo's mom, is coming in. And Nancy, thank you for coming. And Elizabeth, thank you for coming. And I think I got everyone. If I didn't, please forgive me. It's so good to see everyone. You've made my day so much better. And thank you so much for supporting the Daily Antidote. And I always want to remind people too, you can go to the website, the Daily Antidote website. And if you like what's happening here, this is a great place to put $10 or $25 or whatever you have to spare to keep the program running. It is a nonprofit and this program does need your support. So if you're inclined and you love being here and you care about it, whatever you can give really makes a huge difference, as small or as large of an amount as you can spare would be really appreciated. So thank you everyone so much for being here. And thank you again to Christiana for singing with us this morning. And we'll see you all soon.